All right. Welcome to another episode of The Close-Up, a part of the Orlando Magic HQ Network. My name's Steven Cameron, and this morning we are here to talk about the Orlando Magic. Today is Wednesday, April 16th. Last night, the Orlando Magic beat the Atlanta Hawks in the play-in game to secure the 7th seed, and it was just a really, really exciting game. I'm very psyched to talk about this game. I'm excited to talk about the playoff series that will happen because of the win of this game. It's just a fun time, and it's a good time to be a Magic fan right now. So before we get too deep into it, just want to encourage you all to please like and subscribe to this if you're on YouTube. If you're listening to this in audio format, please give us a rating. That is always helpful. And find us on the social media pages and all that good stuff. They're all linked in the show description. Magic fans, listen up. Orlando Magic Radio pregame and postgame host Brandon Kravitz is live daily on 96.9 The Game within the zone starting at 3:30 p.m. And on Magic Game Days, which there's only a few of those left with us entering the postseason, he stretches that show all the way to 6:30 with the final minutes being completely Magic focused. If you want bonus content, check out his Zoneheads podcast for weekly on-demand episodes. Also, Magic fans, please remember we have a Patreon program going. It's a fun one. We have a good community. We have some good benefits. One of our winners actually just won a giveaway to the fan game of the last regular home season game last week to the Boston Celtics. Funny enough, that's the team the Magic are going to be playing in the first round. But yeah, check out that program too. There's a lot of really good benefits, and that little bit of help financially allows us to do really cool things like send fans to games. All right, let's talk about this game. This was the play-in game with the Magic. You know, they did not secure a top 6 playoff seeding. They were 7th with a 41-41 record, and that triggered them to be in the play-in to have to secure their home court, or not their home court, but have to secure their playoff positioning. You know, there were fans that were nervous. Obviously, Trae Young is a talent. He can go off. But for me going into this game, I was feeling pretty confident. The Hawks were pretty beat up. You know, they were missing quite a few guys. They didn't have Clint Capella. They didn't have Larry Nance Jr., a few other guys. They didn't have Daniels, I think is his name. A few other guys are missing. And yes, the Magic are missing Jalen Suggs and, Mo Wagner. But at the same point, the Magic have been playing relatively injured and starting to find their flow now for a while. And I was just feeling confident going into this game. So it was cool. It was fun. It was nice to see the Magic crowd show up. They had home court advantage. Obviously living so close to Atlanta, there's going to be some Hawks fans there, but in general, it was a pretty good crowd that seemed to be very energetic that I enjoyed watching through the TV. With this win, the Magic are officially the 7th seed in the playoffs, which is where they ended the regular season, but they secured that seed. They didn't move down to 8th, and they didn't get eliminated from the playoffs. And so they will now play the 2nd seed, which is the NBA Celtics. The Boston Celtics, which I'm looking forward to that matchup. We'll get into that a little bit later. There'll definitely be some more content from this channel coming out about that matchup, specifically previewing it a little bit more. But today, let's talk about the play-in game. So again, 120 win to 95. It was actually a pretty dominant game all around. The Magic were up by about 20 going into halftime. The first quarter kind of started a little sloppy, and then midway through the first quarter, the Magic put the brakes on them and just really hammered down on defense. And the Hawks couldn't score for the life of them during that moment. It was quite great. So let me just pull up something real quick. So they ended the first quarter on an insane run, holding the Hawks to 17 points with the Magic having 32. And then going into halftime, like I mentioned, it was it wasn't quite 20 points, but it was 47-61. It was pretty nice, almost 20 points there. So they did really well in that first half, really, scoring the ball, and we'll talk about who was scoring that in a second, but stopping Atlanta from scoring. Trae Young didn't have many points at that point. I don't remember exactly what he had at halftime, but he didn't have that many. Things got a little bit closer in the third and fourth quarter. Magic, their defense wasn't as effective in the beginning of that third in the second half, that third quarter. The Hawks brought it up 73-79. It just was a little bit of a struggle fest there. But then again, you get a little bit more, a few minutes into the fourth quarter, about 5-6 minutes left, and the Magic just start pulling away, 85-99. That was at like 5 minutes and 55 seconds left. And so it was just one of those games where pretty much the Magic controlled it the whole time. It got a little bit close. I think the closest it got was about 3 points midway in the third, where Atlanta got up to 68 points and the Magic had 71. But again, the Magic they never let them take the lead, and they just cruised right on past to this nice win, which was really cool. So let's get into the box score and the team scores a little bit on why. So we've talked about the Magic defense just being on point. There were some players like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, didn't really shoot the ball well last night, but his defense was just on fire. He was pestering Trae Young and really anyone who he was defending really, really well. I think the size of the Magic really bothered them, particularly when Wendell had his motor on and really just going after it last night. Anthony Black and and Cole Anthony were just full on pestering. I mean, Cole is not the best defender in the world, but he was putting in the effort last night, which was really important. It's always good if you're not a good defender to play with effort and energy, because that, and not just stand there and be ineffective. And that's what Cole has been good at, despite his defense not being amazing. And that's what allows him to, he's got moments for sure where he can get targeted and picked on. My mind immediately goes to the last time the Magic played the Memphis Grizzlies, where Ja was just targeting him at the end of the corner, putting him in the ISO in the end of the fourth and just taking advantage. And that's how they closed the game. Tonight was a different story. He had some good energy defensively, offensively. We'll get to that in a second, but he was awesome. The Magic just did a lot of the little things. They out-rebounded the Atlanta Hawks 54-2. The cool thing is Orlando had a good amount of offensive rebounds, eliminating the Hawks or allowing them to have some second chance points. Wendell Carter had, I think, like 4 or 5. Let me go back to my notes real quick, because I think this is an important stat to recognize here. Yeah, Wendell Carter, 5 offensive rebounds. So he was really in good positioning after a shot was taken to grab those rebounds and create second chance points, which was really, really nice and needed. The Magic had 9 blocks compared to Atlanta's 5. The Magic had 6 steals. The Magic had a few more. They had less turnovers too. Sorry, I lied. The Magic were just doing all the little things needed. They were pestering. They were getting in defensive passing lanes. They're rotating properly. They're getting their switches well, and they just played with energy. We've seen this Magic team in regular season games in the past where they can be, They can just not have it on all 4 quarters, and they really showed their elite level of play defensively. And if you're going to play like that, I don't care who the opponent is, you're going to cause them troubles, right? Magic might not be able to score very well versus the Celtics. We'll find out. The Celtics are a much better defensive team than the Hawks, but the Magic should give them troubles with their defense, because the way the Magic defended last night and the way we've seen them defend throughout the year, they're going to be able to cause some trouble for them. And I like some of the matchups that the Magic have there. Okay, other things that stick out to me in the box score is the Magic's 3-point shooting wasn't great. All right. Only 29%. But the Magic are one of the best 3-point defensive teams out there. They really protect the 3-point line. They eliminate the amount of threes that that other teams can take, and they force them into low percentage shots as well with how they play defense, and that shows tonight. The Hawks, with Trae Young playing most of the game, only made 4 3-point attempts. They shot 19% from 3. That's bad. The Magic shot 28%. Like, we're used to that being bad. Like, as a Magic fan, 28%, that happens every other night. Going 11 of 39. The Hawks going 4 of 21 for 19, that's not great. That is the type of defense I want to see us play versus the Magic or versus the Celtics, because the Celtics are one of the better and higher volume 3-point making teams out there. And so I want the Magic to really lay into that as a foundation for them. Got to drink my coffee. It's early. It's 6 a.m. here for you all. All right. So let's get into some other aspects of the game. What, why, and how did this Magic team play so well? Well, it helps when the role players show up. Paulo and Franz, they didn't particularly score efficiently in this game. Paulo had 17 points. Franz had 13 points. Atlanta did do a pretty good job defending them. And that was okay because the role players stepped up. Wendell Carter Jr. early started playing pretty aggressive. He had a team plus minus of a plus 28, 19 points, 7 rebounds, like I mentioned, 5 of them offensively. So he was creating a lot of second chance. He was hitting his threes. He hit one pretty early, I think, towards the end of the first quarter. After he had missed one, he was 1 of 2 by the end of the first. By the end of the game, he was 2 of 4 from, that was his only one, but like he was 1 of 3 from 3. And it was just a really important momentum builder pretty early to get him going. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he had some good looks from 3 in that first quarter. I think it was 1 from 4 to end the first, and he just couldn't get his shot to fall. Good looks, pretty open on some of them, just not getting to fall, but he was playing pretty good defense last night and, still contributed in many ways. And thankfully, this Magic team had other players step up with scoring the basket, but we want to see him hit those shots when it comes to the Celtics series coming up. I honestly, the best player in the starting lineup offensively was Wendell Carter Jr. No other starter had more than 17 points. That's Paulo. Franz had 13. Corey Joseph had 9, and KCP had 5. That starting unit did do pretty well getting to the free throw line. KCP got there twice, hit both his shots. Corey Joseph got there twice in 18 minutes, hit both those shots. Wendell Carter went 50%, 2 of 4. Franz went 50%, 1 of 2. Paulo, again, despite going 4 of 13 from the field, he got to the free throw line 11 times and made 9 of his 11s. Oh, also, Paulo, he affected the game in many ways. He had 9 rebounds. Franz had 13 rebounds, which was pretty awesome. One of those being an offensive rebound. Again, creating those second chance points. Paulo had 7 assists. He was still very much playing well. Paulo was a plus 18 for the game. His defense was really on point. He had a block, he had a steal. He was pestering the guys in front of him when they were on him and just making life challenging. He was playing like he played in FIBA the other year defensively. I mean, we know Paulo is a capable defender. He's never going to be an all-defensive player, but he is capable, and he showed it last night. Again, filling up the box score with 17 points, 7 assists, 9 rebounds. Of course, we want to see him get going. Him and Franz play a little bit better offensively with their scoring versus the Celtics. We know they're capable of it. Let's see it. Franz was a plus 14 last night, 13 points, 6 of 15 shooting, didn't hit a single 3-pointer. Neither did Paulo for that matter, but he only took 3 of those. Franz's shot, he needs to see somebody this offseason. Go see, whoever you want to see, but someone that is going to help you fix your shot, because it is not doing you justice right now from the 3-point line. Franz, it's got the hitch. And I'm not a shot doctor, but I typically let players play with the shots that they have and not criticize them too much because they know more about basketball than I do. But Franz, that is not good. I can tell you that. So go get that sorted this offseason. But yeah, not the greatest scoring games from either of our 2 superstars, but they both still did impact, with the rebounding, with, 10 assists between the 2 of them, Paulo having 7. They both had steals and blocks. It was just really good. They did also a pretty good job limiting turnovers, which I was impressed with. Paulo only had 3 turnovers. Franz only had 2. So 5 between the 2 of them altogether. That starting unit only had 6 of them altogether. So I was pretty satisfied with how they handled and protected the ball during that during the game. You need your stars and your primary ball handlers to protect the ball. Now, let's talk about this second unit, because if I would have told you going into the game, two of the players that are going to have the highest plus minus on the team and be some of your most important offensive contributors would be Cole Anthony and Anthony Black, the guys that I am starting to refer to as the Anthonys, which I think is a great nickname for that duo until that duo is broken up and they're both playing in the second unit. I'm going to call them the Anthonys. That was just the role players showed up for this team, guys. And Cole Anthony and Anthony Black are the biggest names, even like I mentioned, Wendell Carter Jr., but Cole Anthony, Anthony Black, really, they were outstanding. Cole Anthony, team high 26 points. He went 10 of 17. He had 4 of 19 from 3. He made both his free throws. He had 6 assists. He was playing lights out. The ball didn't really get stuck in his hands, which we know can happen with Cole Anthony sometimes. Coach Mosley, even with both these guys, they started the game with Corey Joseph and Contavious Caldwell-Pope. Well, they closed the game with the starters, but included Cole Anthony and Anthony Black to assist with that. Cole did 26 points in 20 minutes, people. He was playing really, really nice basketball there. What I liked is he was aggressive. He was looking to score. He kept pressure on Atlanta's defense by driving to the basket, by hitting big threes. There was momentum shifting threes with what he was doing. He was one of the players when in the third it got close, helped us start to pull away and create that lead again with his shot making ability, which was just nice. Anthony Black, let's talk about him. Did you know he's shooting above 40% from 3 since All-Star break? I did not know that until I saw it this morning from a Twitter handle named I Like This Team, a person named Chris that I interact with over the years. He saw that stat and I saw that, and that's impressive. I didn't expect that. He went 3 from 3 from the 3-point line last night, and that is super important for this Magic roster. When you got Anthony Black hitting shots like that, that's a good sign, because he is not known to be a good shooter yet. He had 40% or 39% last year, but such low volume. This year, he's definitely ticked up the attempts. And last night, he hits 3 for 3. That's so important for this team. 9 points of 16 right there. He also was pretty effective rebounding. Not the most rebounds in the world for a guy who's like 6'7". I'd love for him to get a little bit more, but he had 4 assists, which was nice. 0 turnovers. Cole Anthony, guys, too, also had 0 turnovers. The Anthonys had 0 turnovers, which is just awesome for this Magic roster. I was very psyched to see that when I was reviewing things at the end. This Magic team, again, Atlanta's not a good defensive team, but the Magic just did what they needed to do, took care of the ball, did the little things, limited personal fouls. The refs were kind of garbage in certain moments of this game, but we're not going to talk about the refs tonight. We're just going to talk about how this Magic roster did what they were supposed to do. Jonathan Isaac, again, another really good game from him. If you get any points from him offensively, that's good. He got 6. A couple of decent cuts from him to allow him to get those types of opportunities to score. His only shot that he missed was a shot from distance, was a 3-pointer. He had 8 rebounds, a couple offensive rebounds, which were nice, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. He was pretty good, Jonathan Isaac. So I'm going to take that. And he played 18 minutes too, which is nice. Guys we didn't see in the rotation. Goga Bitadze did not play a single minute in meaningful minutes. He played 4 minutes in garbage time. He has been not very good for a while this season, pretty inconsistent. He's had his moments in the second half where, he's definitely played good and had good games and good moments, but he hasn't been able to be consistent like he was at the start of the year. Even before his concussion, he was starting to play poorly. And we saw a coach get him out of the rotation, which I think is fine. You're going to shorten the rotation in these higher pressured games. Coach really went more with like I call a 9.5 game rotation, because you have Gary Harris and Caleb Houston both getting 12, 13 minutes, but heavy minutes out of Cole Anthony. I said 20, Anthony Black 28, Jonathan Isaac 12 or 18 minutes. So you still had a 9-man rotation, but much tighter, right? In games past, we've seen Tristan Da Silva get put in the mix in the rotation, to a 10, 11-man rotation, but tonight he did not play. Gary Harris, pretty good game. He's not a scorer like he used to be. Not that he ever was like an aggressive scorer, but he hit his 3-point shot. He only took 2 shots, played pretty good defense. He had a steal. Somehow, despite only having 3 points and 1 steal as his box score. He was a plus 11. So, that second unit, the plus 11 isn't necessarily all about him. It's about the unit that he's playing with. But, he didn't really cause the Magic too many issues while he was on the court. That's why he's getting the call, guys, over people like Jett Howard or Tristan da Silva, is he's not going to cause a lot of mistakes, right? He's not creating a ton of, you're not going to see him get in foul trouble. He only had 2 fouls last night. You're not going to see him turn the ball over. He's often in the right position defensively. Yes, offensively, he annoys a lot of us. He doesn't make many shots. He doesn't take many shots, but he doesn't make many mistakes other than not taking many shots. And so that's built so much trust with this coaching staff. That's why he's going to be in the rotation for this whole Celtics series, I guarantee you. Caleb Houston, who's been shooting very well up until this point, pretty unnoticeable this game. 0 points, 1 shot attempt from 3, didn't make it in 12 minutes. A couple of, few rebounds. He had 3 rebounds. Just not really someone I would say, hey, go watch Caleb Houston in that game. He was fine. Again, the story I don't think isn't so much about them not taking the shots. It's more so about, Jett Howard, Caleb. It's more about Cole Anthony and Anthony Black kind of, just being the second unit and allowing others to really, not have to worry about scoring so much because they are doing all the scoring. Just a really impressive game. It's nice to see the Magic take ownership of a game like this and not play with your food. I know some Magic fans were a little worried about this team going into the play-in. I was feeling pretty well, and the Magic, they showed why. They came up and did what they were supposed to do. Just a couple of key takeaways. I was really impressed with the bigs movements, cutting to the basket, Wendell Carter Jr. and J.I., getting those offensive rebounds and creating those second chance points. I've said that a little bit, but again, that was just really important for this Magic roster. It's cool to see Coach make the right type of adjustments with his lineups, with clearly seeing guys have the hot hand and deciding to close the game with them. I want to see that type of decision making from Coach in the playoffs as well. Be fluid with your adjustments, be fluid with your rotations, go with who is having the most effect on a certain player on a certain matchup. And he did that, again, KCP, Corey Joseph, they started the game, they did not finish. And that didn't pout them. They were very energetic and supportive on the bench. They were probably the team's biggest cheerleaders down the stretch. So it's important to notice, these are vets that are professionals and not grumpy that they didn't close the game, at least not to the public eye. So shout out to that whole crew right there in general. And shout out Mosley for, again, deciding to close with the bench unit there with part of the starters. So very much enjoyed that. That was great. Guys, I'm sorry. I know I'm mumbling over a few words, but it's early. I'm not even a full cup of coffee in. I decided to get some good rest last night and talk about the game this morning. And I think that was the right decision. You guys tell me. But appreciate you sticking through me fumbling over a couple of words here and there. The one thing that I want to talk about that I thought was entertaining was Trae Young getting ejected. He got ejected with 4:47 left in the fourth quarter. He got frustrated over a call or something like that, and then threw a pretty aggressive chest pass to the ref with the ball. Got him a technical right there. And then just quickly after, he was not wanting to give up the ball or something like that. Just, having attitude really aggressively towards the referee again during, I think it was for some free throws, and he got ejected. So the Magic, not that the game was super close at that point. I think they were up by 22 points. So, Young was pretty frustrated, but it was fun to see. It's always fun to know that you've gotten underneath a player's skin so much that they got technicals and get ejected. You get to hear the walkout songs, which are fun. The game was wrapped up at that point. Magic up 22, so it didn't really matter. A little bit after that, the bench unit was, or the mob unit, the cleanup unit was unleashed with Goga and Tristan da Silva and stuff to come in and just clean house. Jett Howard. So that's entertaining. Again, good game from the Magic. They beat Atlanta 120-95. Boston, that's up next. You can get your tickets now. They are on sale today, April 16th. Game is on Sunday, April 20th. Game 1. That's when the Celtics series will kick off. Looking forward to that. That's going to be a fun one. I wanted this series more than I wanted like a Cavs reunion because we haven't seen the Celtics in a playoff series before. And I want the Magic, these young players, to start seeing different types of teams early in their playoff careers so they can just get that experience. No, it's a different intensity. It's a different type of level of play. And yep, the Cavs team are not the same as they were last year. That would have been a good challenge too to see them again. But let's see some different type of matchups. I want to see Paulo versus Tatum. I want to see Franz versus Jaylen Brown. I want to see how KCP and Anthony Black do against guys like Drew Holiday and Derek White. It's going to be a fun matchup. The Magic have played them 2-1 this year. Granted, both teams were pretty injured during like a couple of those games. Jason Tatum wasn't playing. Obviously, the Magic were injured as well. The last game of the season for Kia Center was versus the Celtics. Celtics pretty much rested every key person. Jaylen Brown is dealing with some sort of injury right now. I can't remember. I think it's like a quad injury or something, or an ankle. And so he hasn't really been playing much to close the end of the regular season. So we'll see how healthy he is going into the series. I'm not really expecting the Magic to get out of it, but I'm hoping that there's some really good competitive games within the series and that the Magic can push it to 6, maybe 7, and just have some really good learning moments. I think this series is going to be very important for guys like Anthony Black going into the his third year next year. I think it's going to be really important again for guys like Paulo and Franz to feel these high pressure games and learn from what they did last year into this year. So I'm just very excited for this series. I know some people are hesitant about what's the point if the Magic are just going to get destroyed and eliminated in 4 or 5 games. I'm one of those people that thinks that high pressure playoff games is going to be a learning moment and a development moment, regardless of the score or the outcome. There's always something to learn from it. So I'm psyched. It should be a good series. Hopefully the Magic make it competitive and can take advantage where they can. There's going to be more coverage about that in that series coming up with the show later this week. So make sure to tap in with that. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up for me this morning. I hope you guys have all enjoyed the show. Games for the playoffs start on April 20th. So just get up, show up, buy those tickets, Magic fans. Let's try and drown the noise from the Celtics fans that will be there. And let's go Magic. Peace.